Law of success, self-control. The author shares a personal story where he says he and the janitor in his office got themselves into kind of a fighting match with each other over a long period of time. And he said, we just didn't agree on things. We didn't see eye to eye. And he says, it cost me self-control. And he said, he would display his anger for me by shutting the lights off when he knew I was the only one in the building. And he said, this went on for days. And he says, finally, I had had it. And one Sunday when I was there all by myself, he said, the power was shut off. And he says, I stormed down to the basement to visit with this janitor. And he says, as I got there, he says, he was simply shoveling coal into the furnace. And he said, I just let him have it. He says, I used every adjective and every word that I could. And he says, the janitor turned around with a big smile on his face. And he said, my, you're all worked up this morning. And he said, I absolutely felt embarrassed, humiliated. He said he had smiled at me, and in just a few short words, he said he had humiliated me. And he says, but I really humiliated myself. He said, here was a man who couldn't read or write. And he said, but he displayed self-control. And he said, I walked back up to my office just absolutely humiliated, feeling horrible about myself. Here I was in self-development, trying to teach people how to succeed, and I couldn't even control my own actions, my own thoughts, my own expressions. And he said, I knew I had to turn around and go back there and apologize. So he says, I made my way back down to the basement, much slower than the first time. And he said, when I got down there, he said, with that big smile again, he said, what do you want this time? And he said, I wish to apologize. I apologize for the way that I treated you, the way that I acted. That was completely not human, not nice, nothing kind about it. And he says he smiled again. And he said, you know, you, me, and these four walls is all that heard that. And he says, I'm not going to say anything, and you're not going to say anything. And he said there he had done it again. He displayed incredible self-control. And he says, my friends, that changed my life. In fact, here's what he says. Following that, he says, I made a resolution. A remarkable change began to take place in me. My pen began to take greater power. My spoken words carried greater weight. I began to make more friends and fewer enemies among my friends and acquaintances. This incident marked one of the most important turning points of my life. It taught me that no man can have control unless he first makes and takes self-control. My friends, it's powerful when you and I learn this principle.